We had a member ask about haltering a mini mule that booked it every time it saw the halter. Passive training sometimes does not work with animals that have been treated unfairly. Um, they're going, some animals will always choose to not be with a human, and all the treats in the world, uh, you just can't break through. Sitting in the stall and the chair, yeah, those things with certain animals just, they're just never going to make that leap, um, or it's just going to take more time than people want to spend. Honestly, you get an animal to enjoy them, you want to move forward and progress at some point in time. So I'm going to show you what I do to move things along with these animals. So the tool that I like to use is a very long lunge whip. I hold the tail, the loose end in my hand, and I use this because this is a tool that I have on hand that has the longest reach in the event that they get defensive and want to throw some kicks. So this is just a pressure and release technique, and I'm teaching them to stop. The pressure will stay on until they stop. As soon as they stop, I'll release the pressure. Uh, Jitterbugs in season. Daffodil is also in season. These girls love each other. So back to Stinky Pete. So I'm going to approach him and I'm going to touch him. Do you see him flinch? This is how unfairly he's been treated. Anyways, he's already learned this lesson, which is very good. So when I first got him, if I would touch him with anything, and again, this is an extension of my hand. This is what it is. It's to keep me at a safe distance from an animal that may become defensive. When he stops, I remove the pressure. Anyways, he's not going to move. Can I touch your legs? But that's as simple as it is. When I put the pressure on, he would run around like crazy. As soon as he stopped, I'd get that pressure off of him. So you want to have a pretty small pen to do this, and this just lets him know stopping is the right answer. That removes the pressure. This is negative reinforcement. You are removing something to attain the desired behavior. Anyways, I find it really helpful with these animals that don't want human interaction to start to teach them from a distance that our touch is safe, our touch doesn't hurt, because often all they know is that humans hurt. Humans are mean, and so we have to overcome that. And like I said, with animals that are not responding to positive reinforcement or just being comfortable in your presence, some kind of passive training, this is my go-to. So you do not want to introduce the halter until you can teach them to stop to with the touch. That's my first step. And then when I'm doing this, I will often just have the halter around my shoulder. So this just shows them, okay, the halter's here, but the halter doesn't necessarily mean that I'm getting haltered. And the halter just becomes something that's an object that they start to ignore. So then once I can touch them from a distance and they'll stop, then I start kind of choking up on my tool, and I'll get a little bit closer and I'll get a little bit closer until I can get a hand on them. And mind you, I'm gonna be wearing that halter like a silly person throughout this, so I'm not haltering them. I'm just teaching them, okay, we need to stop. We need to allow you to touch. And then, of course, use positive reinforcement. When you're first able to get them to stand and touch, if they will, because some won't, if they will, you can use treats as a reward. If they don't, if they won't take a treat, lots of scratches. They typically live a neck scratch. Typically don't go to the ears right away, but they'll all learn to love an ear scratch. He was a head thrasher, so he's learned to do the ear rubbies. So you can use that as your positive reinforcement if they don't take cookies yet. So once you're there and you've been wearing this silly halter around your shoulder, like, I don't know, like a handbag, then you're eventually going to just start carrying the halter around in your hand. So now we're just kind of easing into this. The halter's here, it's been on my shoulder, now we're going to do this. And I usually will start with a pet. And you can do however you prefer. I typically don't have the lead on at first. That's my preference when I'm just petting. So then you're just going to pet with the halter. Give a cookie, give a scratch, go, good boy. Keep your sessions short. And he's like, oh, the halter's still there, still not getting haltered. Then you're going to, you just keep on progressing. Then I will add on lead, and I will start throwing a lead over them when they're good with the halter, touching them. And, as you're going to start in neutral places, you're going to start at the withers, you're going to go up to the neck, and then you're going to go to the face. And, he's still looking at me. He's like, no, don't touch me if I don't want it. Good boy. I'm sorry, bud. And approach and retreat. He's okay with the cheek. He's not okay with the nose. So go back to the cheek. And you just do that for a while. And as for how long I'm going to spend on each step of this process, that is completely up to the donkey. But then, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unbuckle that halter. Or untie that halter if I'm using a rope halter. And something else you can do is, you want to shake the buckle. You want to make some noise with it and get them used to that. Then I'm going to go ahead and start going under the neck. Like, dude, I'm going to reach over your neck. So I'm going to reach over the neck because this is how I do. There's lots of ways to do. Then I get used to the neck. And then guess what I do? Sorry, bad video. This is his friend Bill. That Bill. And I'm just going to put the halter on his neck. Okay? And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to drop his nose in it. Oops, can't really get a video of that. But anyways, I'm going to start dropping his nose in it. He knows to drop his head into that halter now. He's such a good boy. Don't put it on. On and off. On and off. And then finally you're going to just put it on and buckle it, and he's going to be okay with it. But it all starts with teaching them to stop with pressure and release. And like I said, you start it probably your pressure and release with a lunge whip without the halter, and then start wearing that halter, and then it just becomes a part of your clothing. Progress through at your donkey's own speed. Positive reinforcement is key, whether that be cookies or scratches. Good boys, let them know. I usually say good is my word, and they know when I say good that they've done it correctly. Don't beat a dead horse once they do it. Either move to something completely different or be done with your lesson. Short lessons throughout the day. Honestly, I can get a halter on an animal pretty darn quickly, even if they're pretty reactive.